What's going on, everyone? It's Joe here back again with Jargon. I got Caden with Cantina Talk joining
What's
me
going
for
on?
another Cantina Jargon. We are live once again. We're going to be talking some Star Wars news, some pretty interesting stuff actually came out this week. And of course, we'll be talking about the project going forward. Haven't had a lot of progress, to tell you guys the truth. This past week, with Thanksgiving and everything, but looking to move full steam ahead for the next month or two. So
Yeah.
yeah, we'll get there. Everything takes time, right?
Yeah. I actually just got another piece of news that I just got a notification for that I just sent you as well for us to bring up today too.
Right on. I am going to pull it up so we're just kind of prepped on this. Interesting.
Yeah. It's can't wait.
Okay. Um let's jump right into it. I know you
Yeah.
had something that you wanted to chat about, so I'm gonna go ahead and kind of share that article there. The whole Taika Waititi had no interest in directing a Marvel movie before Thor Ragnarok, which I think Thor Ragnarok is like the best, not the best Marvel movie, but
Yeah,
it's like a
it's up
top
there for
three
sure,
for
yeah.
me. Yeah, I mean, Infinity War, is great, but
And it's more of just like what this means for his Star Wars movie is really what I want to talk about because if he's willing to just take like make like well, okay, Ragnarok was good, but like Love and Thunder for example, if he's willing to just shit like on a character and a story for money, what is he gonna do with Star Wars with a Star Wars movie? Especially with him saying like it's gonna piss a lot of people off. Like
yeah,
when I
that
saw the thing that like him saying that he had no interest, but he was just poor and had to feed his children, like that's what scares me for him having his own movie with Star Wars. Like,
yeah, I gotta agree with that. Especially like you said, the comments about like, oh my Star Wars movie's gonna piss people off. Like, oh, that's Ryan Johnson all over again.
yeah, that
Like I
like
don't.
yeah, when half the audience leaves the theater hating it and the other half leaves it loving it, that's yeah. I just when I saw this, I was like, they need to strip his movie away from him or something, give it to somebody else because if he's willing just to take like a big movie like Thor or big character anyway, what is he going to do with Star Wars?
Right.
If he's given the rights to these characters, he could ruin even more than he could help at this point.
The interesting thing is like Ragnarok, and he's saying he didn't even really want it, but he took it and Ragnarok worked. It's just
Yeah,
that like Love and Thunder didn't really work. And maybe there's just a little bit too much of his like humor and style like coming through and like what should be maybe a little bit more serious.
yeah, and it felt like he wasn't. Yeah, like he didn't even feel like he was taking it seriously. Is what was like, well, at least for Love and Thunder, like he, I
Right,
don't know.
right.
And don't get me wrong, like we could love comedy in Star Wars, but at the same time, like
I don't want, yeah, I like it too. I
yeah,
like it. I mean, obviously I like the 3PO stuff and whatnot, but I don't want the mom jokes like in right or not Red Skywalker. There's Last Jedi also. Oh my
yeah,
god. That movie, man. So yeah, I don't want to deal with that. It just doesn't even fit in the universe at all.
yeah, and with the fact too that like I don't know, like it just worries me because we only have so many chances left before it's like they just sell it to somebody else because they can't make money off of it anymore,
Yeah,
and that can be
I
even worse.
it could be, but imagine if they did sell it and the buyer retconned, the Disney era or something like. I mean, we would lose some good stuff, we'd lose
Yeah,
some crappy stuff, but like that would be wild. But I don't know if like you follow kind of box office earnings in general,
yeah,
but
I do.
like Disney is doing horrible
Yeah,
between the
especially
Marvels and
yeah,
Wish that
and
just came out.
along with too like everything with their shows too, like Marvel shows. I mean, obviously, like Ahsoka's numbers weren't really good at all either, but
No.
I don't think like yeah, they definitely made money, especially with like Grogu with like um merchandise, but how much are they really profiting off of these movies and shows when they're just spitting them out?
Yeah,
They
they're costing hundreds
yeah,
of millions of
they're barely
dollars.
breaking even, if that. A lot of these movies haven't even broken even. The Marvels definitely didn't break even. At least last time I checked it.
No, the Marvels is likely going to lose over $100 million. I
Yeah,
mean,
and
it's
it has
not.
lost 200 million on Indiana Jones. So
Yeah, and
like,
this new animated movie they just did, Wish, it's only cracked. It hasn't even cracked like 40 million at the box office yet, and it costs over $100 million to make. So for it to break even, it needs to be 200-300 million probably.
yeah, because
So
whatever the budget is, you have to double that for advertising. So like
yeah, well,
Endgame's budget was 300 million, but double that, that's 600. They have to do they have that, a billion just barely broke them even. Like James
right,
Cameron said with
because
Avatar, he had to get 2 billion to break even.
right, yeah.
And
Well,
yeah,
that's the whole thing, and he basically barely did it
yeah,
even
he
with
just
Avatar 2. So
barely did it.
I mean, it's yeah, the whole thing with box office earnings that people don't understand is like if a movie costs $300 million and it makes 300 million, like it didn't make a profit at all. I mean, first of
No.
all, they have to give a revenue share to the theaters, and
Yeah.
second of all, like you said, marketing costs are likely $100 million these days.
Well,
So
and sometimes too, like even with actors having their contracts, the back end earnings, like
yeah,
the studio's even losing even more money than too.
they're getting points on some of the stuff. Well, some of those
Yeah,
guys are like RDJ probably was.
DiCaprio too.
Um,
DiCaprio gets earnings.
oh, yeah, he's one of those guys
Yeah.
for sure. Um, I don't really have these on my screen, but if you can help kind of read these, that would be helpful.
Tony says, I don't trust Taika making a movie or committing himself. At this point, I don't really either. He would have to make some serious adjustments to what he's been doing or will continue to be doing, because at this point it's more scary knowing that this guy's given the mantle to make these stories. But
Yeah, he's good in the indie space. I mean, Taika's funny dude, and I
yeah,
like some of his stuff. I don't know if he's right for Star Wars. That's the thing I'm concerned
well,
about.
the
So
thing is, I don't even like. I know he's done Mandalorian episodes, but I can't even remember which ones.
he only did two. So he did or was it only one?
I think it was season. It was because it was in season 1, because they did I believe
He
anyway,
did
because they did the room like where they all talked. Bryce was there. Rick Famuyiwa,
right.
Filoni.
He did the season 1 finale. I know that for sure.
Did
And
he?
yes, and the funny thing about it is that's the one where the like stormtroopers are like joking with each other for like 3 minutes, and they're shooting and they can't hit the can or whatever it is.
But but that
And that is
wasn't
like
like
Taika's humor. That is
yeah.
Taika's humor though in
And
in the Mandalorian.
when it was happening, I was like, okay, this isn't bad, but can we move along, please? Like we still
Right.
have we have a story to get to. Even though the finale of season 1, I mean, I was hyped for season 2 off that, just seeing the Darksaber at the end. But
Yeah.
like, there's only I feel like there's only so much that should really, I don't know. It's just very very worrisome.
Yeah, I know. I it's not going to work for a whole movie. I mean, that's my opinion, but I can see making some non-canon comedy Star Wars movie.
Yeah.
I guess. I mean, I don't even
Uh,
want that really. So,
Tony also says Taika could do a droid story and do all the voices. I mean, fair. I mean,
oh, there it is. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. What else to say here? I agree. You can very easily destroy a character, make
Yeah,
more Star Wars
exactly.
fans leave. But I mean, like you just talked about with like the Ahsoka ratings and stuff. Like clearly, fans have stepped away because Ahsoka
Yeah.
was, in my opinion, pretty solid overall.
Yeah.
And it was a lot more solid than Mando season 3 or
1,000%.
Kenobi even. So like
Yeah.
especially like Hayden's portrayal in Ahsoka versus Kenobi, but yet Kenobi had way better numbers. And I think some people just kind of exited after that,
Yeah.
misstep
Well,
and stuff
and
like
I think
that.
that's because of them having Dave with Ahsoka. Dave is what held it all
Because he
together.
knows, he
And he knows
knows
the
the
characters.
prequels. Yeah,
Yeah.
he knows the characters really well from the
Even
prequels.
though Deborah knocked it out of the park in Mando season 1 and season 2 with her episodes, but
Yeah, but
just got Kenobi, and like it's the same thing with Robert Rodriguez. Like Boba in Mando season 2, amazing, but it just didn't translate. And I was just kind of like, how did this go from being up here to down here for me?
yeah, they took a step back with
Yeah.
the actual series, but I don't think Rodriguez is the guy to direct that. I mean, I would love to see John direct it. He would be incredible.
Look at Iron Man.
I know, and look at his freaking Mando episode,
Yeah.
season 2 premiere.
Yeah,
But
that was an amazing premiere.
Oh my gosh, that had to
I was
be.
so
I mean,
hyped.
that's
Yeah,
one of the best episodes, I think. But yeah,
easily the
it's
Creating Dragon.
oh man, that's a great episode. But yeah, I think the thing about when you look at like okay, like Deborah's episodes are great,
Yeah,
sure, but I mean, John was there the whole time, like helping her along. You know what I mean? Like there
yeah.
was
That
someone,
guy.
John
Yeah,
and Dave were there producing that episode and trying to make sure that it's also their vision. So it's when she was given full reins of the Kenobi show, it's a little different. You know what I mean? She didn't
that's
have
why.
Dave over her
Yeah,
shoulder the whole time.
that's why I'm glad Dave is now at this position where he has like kind of has to be like, all right, no, that's not
Right.
happening.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, he's the chief creative officer now, so
yeah.
he's got the say. I mean, you know,
But
he can veto things, but
at the same time, though, how much of Taika is gonna leak through? Like,
well, let's just hope the movie doesn't happen. I don't even know at this
yeah,
point.
fair.
Ben says, okay, for first of all, everyone, Ben did the artwork that is in the thumbnail. We will be looking at it closer a little bit later. But I did link his channel down in the description. So go ahead and follow Ben. He's an awesome artist. And he's going to be working with us on the fan project. But anyway, he says, what did he say here? I'm sorry, I have like my mic's in the way. Like, I'm
There
trying
you
to
go.
read.
He says it really seems like that if yeah, it really seems like that if they snipped out all the super goofy stuff in Love and Thunder and added back in the dramatic elements that they were actually filmed, they would have had a solid movie, which is very fair. There's a lot of BTS footage and stuff, and leaked footage before the movie came out, and a lot of it looks super great, but none of it made the
Mhm.
final cut. And for a character like Gore the God Butcher,
Yeah.
he shouldn't have. It's a character that menacing and that big of a story. Like his sword, for example, he got that from killing the symbiote god of Nur. They didn't have any of that in the movie. He just got it off the floor in an
Yeah,
oasis,
yeah.
and
I remember that.
the guy was just sitting there making jokes, eating grapes. Like, and the deleted scenes with Zeus with Russell Crowe, amazing.
Oh my gosh,
Like,
dude. Don't even get me started on that.
like
Yeah.
what happened? What happened?
Well,
Like,
he just like he turned it into one big joke. I mean, if you
yeah,
really watch that movie, like it's literally like nonstop jokes the entire time. I mean,
yeah,
it just
yeah.
like which is not like I think it's not what people want in a Marvel
Well,
movie. Like,
I'm
you
I'm
know,
also
I
glad he's
mean,
not doing Thor 5. He's not doing it. They
yeah,
already got
he's
somebody
not.
else.
Yeah,
And
that's
I know
right.
Chris Hemsworth said too. He's like, I want to step away from the comedy side of Thor. And I'm glad that like Chris was like, yeah, no, this needs to stop.
Well, like he's one of the last like OG Avengers that are
Yeah,
left in this. You know what I mean? So he's got to like they got to step him up and make him a bigger part of the
yeah.
story. I
Give him
think.
producer like they did with Tom Hiddleston for Loki season 2.
Yeah, I haven't
Like,
watched season 2 yet, so no spoilers. But I've heard it's great.
yeah, it's amazing.
I've heard it's great. Yeah, I've heard it's like the only good Marvel thing we've gotten recently.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I'd say so. Tony says,
Uh,
didn't Rick Famuyiwa produce the majority of Mando season 3? Did he?
he was not a producer for 1 or 2, but he did become a co-producer with Dave and John for season 3.
Okay.
So yes, he was more involved for season 3, and I think that's because Dave had become stretched so thin from Ahsoka.
Yeah, you hope I needed someone. Yeah.
John needed someone else to rely on. So, and Rick is the guy. I like Rick a lot. His episodes have always been bangers. He did season 2, episode 7, which was incredible.
Yeah.
The Believer. He also did season 3, episode 7 and 8, which are the best
Yeah,
episodes.
and yeah, in the finale, like the finale especially too was like I was
Yeah.
like, all right, like I can very much tell when Rick has the reins
Yeah.
because you like I feel like Rick knows how to do finales. Minus like Moff Gideon stuff being cut and it being a little weird, but like he definitely knows what he's doing when it comes to leading it off with a bang because he did the Ahsoka finale, I believe.
He did do the Ahsoka finale too. He definitely and I like that they trust him to do this stuff because
Yeah.
I think Rick is solid. I really do.
Like, and the thing
I'm
is,
glad they have him on board.
Peyton Reed directed the Mando season 2 finale, and
I know how crazy
and
is
then went
that?
and did Ant-Man. He did Ant-Man season, Ant-Man 3.
3, yeah.
What happened? Like you went from being up here, like it's the same thing again, like up here to
That's
down
a
here. Like
that's a script thing. 100% that's a script thing
you
because
think?
I do. I mean, the script of Mando season 2 finale was so perfect regardless, and we know John wrote it. So like
Yeah,
the way that it all played out, the way that, Din got the dark saber and Luke shows up and everything, and that conflict with Bo, um, I think it was written perfectly so that it was really hard to screw up. Let's be honest.
Okay, yeah, I just looked up. Yeah, Peyton Reed did not write. Okay, yeah, fair.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
okay.
So, the script for Ant-Man was the problem. Also, also it was just a massive like green screen the entire time. It's not like they had any kind of
Yeah, it was
practical
all like,
sets.
you can very well see like it's all volume.
Yeah, it was. That was one of my least favorite movies of the year. I'd say for sure.
And then
that was
following
bad.
that with Thor: Love and Thunder, like back to back, it was.
Did Thor: Love and Thunder come first or no? I thought it
No,
came first.
Thor came back out. I think Ant-Man was in February, and then Thor was in like April or May, because Thor had like a month and a half before it got any trailer or anything before it came out. Like they delayed trailers so long.
Wow. Jonas is in the chat. That thumbnail is really nice. Yeah. Thanks to Ben for that. That's his art. Like I said, we're going to look at it closer in a little bit here, guys. We just want a couple more news items.
Hans is back.
Yeah, sup. Travis Mitchell, hope you guys are well. Travis, I hope you're well. And thanks for joining and supporting.
What's going on, Sebastian? Composer.
Oh, that's Thrawn right there. Yeah.
Yep. Wait, I'm sorry. Did I say composer? I'm sorry. I was thinking of Alex.
No, he's Thrawn, and oh my gosh, I know we talked about this last time. But like this guy's Thrawn's
the Han voice too.
Oh yeah, he did Han too. Oh my gosh, yeah, I forgot about that. Gosh, we need to really get organized. I know that we've been, with the holiday and everything,
it's really
been busy, but really want to organize things into like a sheet. Basically, of here's who's going to do the music for whatever trailer and who's going to do the voices, and also who's going to do voices in which trailer. Because for instance, like the Palpatine voice, we don't need till the Last Command trailer. I'm not doing that until the Last Command trailer.
Probably the year out,
right?
Like
probably.
It's gonna be a bit.
But the Thrawn voice, the Talon Card voice, the Luke voice are going to be prominent in the Dark Force Rising trailer. So what does Travis say here?
One thing about the original Star Wars movie that's missing later is the feeling of improvisation and I can't speak. Improvising and imperfection in the production. I think Taika could recapture that feel in his film. How
it's interesting. When I think about A New Hope, I think you're right. I mean, there definitely was like this banter between the three heroes that felt very natural.
I think it's because Harrison is not giving a shit though too, with him being like, kid,
right? But
movie, like I think it's just Harrison. Like that's just like kind of just Harrison is like being like, all right, I'm just here for a paycheck.
Sure. I mean, but like there's some sort of charm to that, right? So I get where Travis is coming from here, because Taika probably is one to let actors give their input. I mean, at least he seems like he is, and I think like I said, I think Taika is really talented, and I think he makes good movies. I just don't know if he's right for Star Wars. I guess I'm just worried that it's gonna be Thor: Love and Thunder all over again. Now, if it was something like Ragnarok that has a little bit of humor, but it's also like, I mean, Ragnarok is the like hero gets defeated and rises again, like story almost perfectly. I mean, it is like to a T.
It might be a little bit weird, but honestly, it's like almost like a buddy cop story with him and Loki, but it almost feels like Beverly Hills Cop in a way, like
because there's like. I mean,
but like in like a good way, not like a bad way, but like they do it right. Like it's done right.
That's Beverly Hills Cop isn't goofy. Like it's a fun like action 80s movie that has some comedy associated with it.
That's what Thor: Love and Thunder was trying to be, was that like 80s buddy cop action movie, which I think they nailed perfectly, especially with the trailers.
You mean Ragnarok?
Did I say Love and Thunder? Yeah, no, I meant the Ragnarok. Yeah.
Right. It did have an 80s like feel to it. Like that's I think what makes it so great. It has like an 80s fantasy feel to it, along with like you said, it's just like that journey of like the buddy cop thing. But there's always like, I don't know. It's cool. It's a really good movie.
The banter between him and Loki is like perfect.
Yeah, I mean, regardless of what happened with Love and Thunder or what Taika does going forward, I think Ragnarok is a home run. I always will.
The anti-heroes have gotten bad by the MCU. I do not particularly care for John Bernthal Punisher, especially in his own show. I have to disagree. I think the best Netflix anti-villain show was The Punisher.
But he's saying with the MCU, so I think he's saying like since like because those aren't like those shows are basically by the wayside, right? Or
well, it's kind of a gray area currently with everything being fired from Daredevil. It's all like because like Jessica Jones is still a thing and it was going to be in Daredevil and something Iron Fist and Colin Wen was going to come back as Iron Fist, but then that got sidelined. But then John Bernthal was going to be one of the main characters in Daredevil Born Again, but then that got sidelined. It's kind of all up in the air and we have to wait for the show because Echo's coming out and Daredevil's in it, so that might have something to do with it. But I will say yes, the anti-heroes with the MCU anyway haven't been the best. But John Bernthal's Punisher, way better than Thomas Jane in my opinion. Same thing with R.I.P. Ray Stevenson, but Ray Stevenson as well. I think John Bernthal's Punisher is the best for comic accuracy that we've gotten for Punisher. I don't think anyone else could play him. Same Daredevil, Charlie Cox, no one can replace him. But that's just me.
I like John Bernthal. I think he's cool. I don't mind him. I loved Moon Knight except for the ending. I've never seen it.
Moon Knight was really good. It was like a fever dream the entire time watching it. It was like definitely something that you gotta watch all the way through right away because then it kind of just messes with you the entire time. You don't know what's really real the entire time you're watching.
Well, I mean I've heard it's like kind of like he's got a split personality kind of thing. So yeah, I haven't looked into it. You have the stormtrooper smacking his head, the spy and Mos Eisley smacking his own snout, Han bullshitting over the comm, and all the comedy with the stormtrooper. It feels like Taika. That's why I said A New Hope when you mentioned that you're in your previous comic, because that's the one that does feel like they were allowed to have some leeway going off script a little bit. So not every Star Wars needs to be exactly super serious and everything like that. Yeah. And maybe Taika would do a good job. I can't be the one to say he wouldn't. I can be a little nervous about it though.
Yeah, it's not that he's. I mean, it's more just like the uncertainty of what's going to come out of it is what it's more nerve wracking in terms of like, will this make or break Star Wars? This final shot, especially with how Love and Thunder went.
Yeah.
Han says Taika is a hit or miss for me. That could be with anybody though too, not just Taika. Tony says what Travis Mitchell is saying that over the years Star Wars has gotten too serious with its stories and delivery. George made the OT fun to watch. It's fair.
I can agree with that. I think there's like this thing where fans or a lot of fans want like super serious, like everything has to be Andor, which I do not agree with. I actually, like we said earlier, I think a little bit of comedy, a little bit of fun is like good. I like the droid like comedy, like even Rogue One, which is technically the predecessor to Andor, has that comedy. It has like that good comedy, those good interactions.
Yeah.
So that's been lost a little bit, I'd say, with Andor the show. But K2SO will show up in season 2, and maybe we'll get that again.
Donnie Yen too, like he does like even though they're completely different characters for him in John Wick 4 and in Andor, he still has that like comedic timing, and that was one of my favorite parts of Andor was Donnie Yen.
Yeah, no, he was good. He was good.
Yeah,
for sure.
Like, when they put the bag over his head, he's like, "I'm already blind." Like it's just like I don't know. It's just they can definitely do it. But like if we were gonna get like a neo-noir like spy show, like ISB show, I'd want it to be like Andor kind of serious. But that's really about it.
Yeah,
I would. And like Heir to the Empire, if it's not like if it's like a bunch of jokes, like if it's a bunch of jokes, then I'm gonna be out of it. But if it's like jokes here and there, like how like Mando has been with Migs, like here and there, just dropping jokes about Mando having brown eyes.
Yeah, like Mando handled humor really well and has, I'd say, all 3 seasons. Even with like the little the Anzellans or whatever, they were freaking funny, like in Mando season 3. So I'll be honest, when Grogu got in that IG-88 suit and he kept spamming the yes button, like I was laughing. Like that was damn funny to me. I'd love to see animated Punisher film series set in the 80s.
That would be
That'd be
sick.
sick. Yeah, that'd be awesome. No one's gonna say no to that. That's like the thing is like there's so much stuff you can do with these characters and they just don't do it. Meanwhile, the DC's like, nah, we're like rebooting the whole thing in live action. Meanwhile, here's all these animated series you get and all that
Yeah,
stuff. They're like,
I
they'll
like,
nickel and dime everyone there.
yeah, I love how with James Gunn, like with Superman Legacy, how he already has like Green Lantern, a bunch of other characters that are already established. Like, oh yeah, they're already here. Like,
I
we
think
don't
it's
need
gonna
to do
be.
their
I think
movies.
it's gonna be big. I
I'm so
really
excited.
think the DC reboot is gonna be. I think it's gonna be huge. But
Okay,
we're gonna. Yeah, we'll see.
the thing with that too, with like Black Adam, that's what I liked about Black Adam when it comes to the Justice Society, with having Doctor Fate. Like those characters, like they didn't need their own movie; they were already there, and they were already kind of like a thing, and it fit. It didn't feel like it was out of place.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It's like it's weird because DC, the old like Zack Snyder verse is kind of
Yeah.
like falling off now, and we're gonna get this reboot, but I think the reboot is gonna be much more in the style of like previous Marvel, I would say.
Yeah.
Much more in the MCU kind of style.
Yeah, it's gonna be Phase 1
But
all over again.
yeah, and that's why I think it's gonna be so popular because
Yeah.
obviously it's starting with Superman, who's already an extremely popular character. You're gonna get Batman in there.
Well, and you're
All
gonna have
these
two
other
Batmans too, because Elseworlds and Gods and Monsters. Gods and Monsters is gonna be a new Batman. Elseworlds is still gonna be Robert Pattinson for the trilogy. They're doing a trilogy.
right, and
So
that Batman, that's my favorite Batman movie.
yeah,
Robert
I'm so excited
Pattinson.
for the Gordon show that's coming out next year. With Jeffrey
What
Wright.
show?
Jeffrey
What
Wright
show?
has Matt Reeves. So the reason why it's taken so long for Batman 2 to come out, Matt Reeves went and written and directed a Gordon show with Jeffrey Wright. That's coming out next year.
Is that the Penguin show that they're doing? Because I know they're doing a Penguin show.
They're doing that too. I don't
okay.
know when that's coming out. I just know that I think they started filming that again, but I know that I believe the Gordon shows are already done. I could be wrong though.
Damn, I'm gonna have to check that out because I waited. I'll be honest, I didn't see it in theaters or whatever. The Batman. When it
I do.
caught it. Oh, I wish I did because I caught it on streaming and I was like, holy shit!
Dude,
That was
I had
incredible.
it was goosebumps during that movie.
Yeah, I mean it's that chase scene. Whew,
Yeah.
that's like one of the best I've ever seen. Oh man, watch Taika's movie be a D Squad movie about the droids from the Clone Wars.
I'd be fine with that because
That
Chopper's
could work.
Like
That
Chopper's
could
part
work.
of the Clone Wars too.
That'd be funny.
Yeah.
Han says facts about the hit and miss with everyone. Agreed. No doubt, no doubt. I'm still trying to get us caught up. There's stuff coming in, but I do want to talk about the other news, Vanessa Marshall news. Let's try and catch up a little bit. Part of what Star Wars work was Spielberg influence, which is definitely present in Revenge of the Sith, which was very Indiana Jones-esque at times. Yeah, Spielberg and George Lucas were good buddies. They talked about everything, and I think
Spielberg was on set a bunch of times too.
Right, giving his input, which actually George Lucas took his input to heart, which is great. That's what makes me excited for Skeleton Crew, because John Watts is a big Spielberg fan. He's taking a lot of inspiration from like the 80s Spielberg movies, so that's what has me excited for it. It may not be a story featuring all of our best, all of our favorite characters, whatever. But I think it's gonna surprise a lot of people. I'm
It's
excited
gonna be like the
it.
Goonies. Like it's gonna be like the first time watching the Goonies, like what it was like for you.
Yeah, like it might just be really fun. That's it, and that's okay. I think.
And John Watts knows how to do those movies. Look at No Way Home. Look at the other.
He's really good with interaction between young people and stuff. Yeah, I think so. Feeling super apathetic towards Disney Star Wars. You guys got me keener on delving into Legends. Do it, Darth Hansel. Do it. Yeah, I mean, I think that's I kind of felt the same way. That's how I got into Legends. I really dove in after Mando season 2 because
I did too.
I saw Luke in this new light, and I'm like, wow, like that was. I mean, it blew me away. It really blew me away, and we didn't get that in the sequel. So that's when I started to hear about. Well, he was. That was the Jedi we knew in Legends, and that's when I started to dive into Legends, and I can't recommend it enough, honestly, especially post Return of the Jedi. Legends.
Tony says would love to have a Star Wars movie made by Spielberg. I understand why he couldn't. Yeah, it would like that would be before Star Wars is like, I don't know, before everyone gets too old. I would love Spielberg to do a Star Wars movie because it's going to be an experience that we haven't witnessed before.
I would love it. I don't think it's ever gonna happen. I'm not gonna get my hopes up.
Yeah, with George not being at the helm anymore, he'd like Disney would have to sell Star Wars back to George for it.
Basically, yeah.
Which, I mean, it could happen if
That or George
yeah.
personally like asks Spielberg to do it, and Disney's not
Yeah.
gonna say no to Spielberg.
Why they didn't have him do Indiana Jones? Did he do? Wait, hang on. Before I speak, did he do that? No, it was James Mangold. Okay, that's what I thought. I was like, hang on. Before I make a mistake.
The one in Zelen saying what you want, like a wish. It was very funny, honestly. Oh man.
Back when Ray Stevenson did his Punisher movie, he also voiced the character in a Marvel Squad show, which was for very young children. So I think Bernthal can do a lighter version. He definitely can. I definitely think he could too. I did not know that though about Ray Stevenson.
I didn't know that either. That's cool. Love the Batman though. Can't wait for number 2. Same.
Here.
Annihilation. What is
It's all you.
this? Annihilation, Blackest Night, Nightfall, Marvel Knights, Ghost Rider. Basically anything DC, Marvel, and Star Wars Legends has so much untapped potential.
Yeah. Definitely does.
Yeah, that's just facts right there. Just speaking facts, Hans. I love the first 2 seasons of Mandalorian because it felt like classic Spielberg or Lucas.
I feel like classic Star Wars.
Yeah, it just felt like, yeah, that's right. It felt like vintage.
Especially
Star
coming
Wars.
back after 9, I was like, all right, Star Wars is back.
I know. That's what made it. That's what I think also made Mando season 1 and 2 so like magical. Was like, oh, like we're back. We're back.
Weren't
now.
Mando season 1's ratings like really good? Like really good?
I mean, yeah, but Disney Plus launched with Mando season 1.
Yeah.
So that was like, yeah, the first day that Disney Plus launched, Mando season 1 episodes, I think 1 through 3 were out on it. So yeah, I mean, it did well, obviously, but Mando season 2 reached highs that hasn't been duplicated since, which is kind of crazy considering how much Disney Plus as a platform has grown since then. But yeah,
how many shows we've had since then too.
I know, that's what I'm saying. Really, I mean, and none of them have matched Mando season 2. I did want to share. I know you probably weren't really aware of it, besides the fact that I put it in the title here. But so Vanessa Marshall, she is the voice of Harrison Dula, guys. She from Star Wars Rebels. She did not play her in live action. Obviously, that's Mary Elizabeth Winstead. She recently was at like a Comic-Con and on a panel. And she said, I would love to play Mara Jade. Can you call Dave Filoni and just let him know I'd love to play Mara Jade? I think we would all just like to be in live action in some way. We haven't had the opportunity to do it yet, but my background is in live action. This is when someone at the Comic-Con asked her who she would like to play in live action. So I found this really interesting because she just straight up names Mara Jade. Now, first of all, how does she know who Mara Jade is? Because Mara Jade is obscure to most general people.
Yeah. That tells me alone though that she's like a diehard fan of Star Wars in general, and that's the person who should be playing the character.
It's either that or she's heard that they're casting a Mara Jade. that's the only way.
It definitely could be, happening. But at the same time too, like, I mean, Rosario was fan casted for years. This could just be something like she's the one I resonate with this character.
My only problem, and because I think the voice would be great. Obviously, she's got red hair. My only problem is I think she's a little old for this era of Mara Jade, like what we're for Mandoverse era.
Yeah, you I mean, not no disrespect to her, they definitely have to like at least de-age her just a little bit. Because
right, but like
I think she's almost pushing 50, if I'm not mistaken.
Right, and Mara Jade should be like 30 at this time, so or younger.
I think at most. I was thinking like 25.
Yeah, it was just once I said that I was like, wait, she's probably in her 20s.
Yeah, like 23 to 25. Yeah, Vanessa Kirby is 54. Which, don't get me wrong, Keanu Reeves can still do all of his stunts in John Wick, so anything is possible.
Well, yeah, but it's just
Okay,
and it's
Jared
like I
Leto.
said, no disrespect to her, but
Yeah,
okay, but listen to this. Listen to this. She could play if we've speculated a ton about.
yeah,
Okay, if they brought her in, let's say there's a secret Skywalker child. Maybe she went into hiding. Maybe she went to Peridia. I don't know. She could be in these like sequel movies as the older Mara Jade when she's like, as she comes out
yeah.
of hiding, or whatever, with her
But
kid.
then, but I still don't think that would make sense for Luke though. Like, I feel like if
Luke is
Luke,
gone.
I mean, for why he just like
Why
I don't know.
why
Like,
he just went into hiding. Yeah,
yeah.
that whole thing is going to be one of the biggest messes to ever try and fix for Dave and John. Good luck. But
Fair.
like I said, I think the only way they can really do it is like Ben killed her. So yeah, that
Yeah.
would obviously put her out of the sequel era as well.
I think Grogu's going to be that character that is in the sequels. In Rey's movie, Grogu's going to be there. 100%.
He'll show up. Yeah,
That's
100%.
going to be the character tying it all together.
I could see it. I mean, he should be alive, obviously.
Yeah, he
very
should
much
be on
alive.
the next 300 years throughout Star Wars.
Yeah,
in the
I mean,
timeline.
he should be relatively young at that
Yeah.
point. So, yeah, I don't hate it. Like if she,
No,
if she
I-
wanted to play
if-
Jade, I'm like, I'm all for it. But at the same time, like, I don't know if it fits for like Dave's movie because the era seems a little off.
I mean, they need someone around the Shin Hati age, I would say. But even
Right,
then,
yeah.
Vanessa Marshall, if it is her, I'm all for it. Just having Mara in general, I'm all for it.
Yeah, as long as they write her well and have a similar backstory, former Inquisitor instead of Emperor's Hand would be a good start. We need a similar kind of story. We need, it's got to be done right.
I'm gonna give you a name real quick. In my mind, this person could easily play. I could definitely see her as a young Mara Jade.
All right, throw me the name.
Just for you to throw in Google Images.
Yep. Let's see here.
Travis says should be a drinking game of how many times Palpatine says you will kill Luke Skywalker in those Thrawn books. Fair.
He never actually says it. It's all in her head.
Well, I mean,
I know.
Fair. Han says
all right,
Return of the Jedi was going to be originally directed by Spielberg. Shame.
Yeah,
I wonder what we would have gotten.
He passed on it to do. Well, he ended up doing Indiana Jones
Yeah.
instead later on.
Yeah.
Well, soon after, but yeah, I don't know what the conflict was though, and why he didn't do
Because
that.
Harrison was leaving after ESB, and like because it didn't Indy come out
Originally
in between?
he wanted that.
I thought Indy came out between 5 and 6. I
think
could
you're
be
right.
wrong.
No, I think you're right.
Because I thought there was like a 3 or 4 year gap in between, and they did
Raiders of Raiders of the Lost Ark came out in 1981. That's right.
Yeah, and 83 was Jedi, right? Right?
Yeah, 83.
Yeah,
that's right.
Okay.
Here's the name you sent me. So Georgia Wiggum.
Yeah,
she was in Scream. She was in.
I know her from The Punisher, but she's also going to be in the new Ted show. But I
really?
See, like for her age,
I saw the trailer for that today.
I could definitely see her being like Mara Jade.
She's 26. I could see it.
Yeah.
So here she is in Punisher.
That's for the character that she plays in Punisher. I could definitely see it. I don't know, just from my experience seeing her in the Punisher, I could definitely see that. Like, okay, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, Karen Gillan has also been like fan cast for a long time, but I think she might be now getting a little older. I mean, she would have.
For me, I would be like, all right, I'm just watching Nebula. Like, for me, like,
that's a good point. Let's see.
Well, and
she
Karen
was
Gillan has such a distinct voice, like English.
I mean, when she was, but yeah, she does the American accent though in the Jumanji movies, and she definitely has like that.
She does it with Nebula
Jade
too, though.
Look. Yeah, she does.
So I mean,
36 years old though. I don't know. I just want someone like age appropriate for the era, I guess. Yeah. But I don't know. Who would you guys cast? Let us know. I'd love to hear it. I'm just curious because like it seems the more and more as they head towards this like retelling of the Thrawn trilogy that it's like it's more and more possible that we're going to get some of these characters like her, and possibly a Talon card. I hope. I mean, so yeah, I think it's possible. It's just now I'm just curious who they're going to cast for these people when the time comes, if the time comes.
I do think Ian McShane is too old to play Talon Card, but I would say for Talon Card, I could definitely see like Pierce Brosnan.
He's
If-
too old.
Do you think?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
I mean,
that's
I guess,
the thing about
yeah.
Talon Card could be. We don't really know how old Card is,
But I mean,
he's still active in the NJO, so he should only be like 40s, 50s, latest.
Fast and Furious 6. What the fuck's his name? What's his name? Villain of Fast and Furious 6. I forgot his name.
I've only seen that movie one time. Let's see. I can just look it up. Fast and
I forgot Gina Carano was in that. Luke Evans.
Yeah.
Like, give Luke Evans a wig. Give him a beard.
Luke Evans. Ooh, that's a great pick.
Give him a beard. Give him some long hair. Like,
yeah, he could pull it off for sure.
It's just the face shape. Like that. The biggest thing is I'm just trying to match the face with the face. And I'm thinking like a young Ian McShane. Perfect.
Dude, yeah, he's got the look, man, for sure. I'm all for that one, 100%. Let's see here. What else we got? We got following the Thrawn trilogy and the New Jedi Order. Is anything else essential aside from the Jedi Academy trilogy and Thrawn duology? Not really essential, but I would recommend the X-Wing books if you're into that kind of thing. The X-Wing books actually pick up right before the Thrawn trilogy, and I think they end up sometime around the Jedi Academy trilogy. So they're cool. Personally, though, if you're trying to speed run Legends, I would do Thrawn trilogy. I would
Empire.
do.
I'm kidding.
Don't skip Dark Empire at all costs. Dude, whatever you do, don't ever read Dark Empire. No, I'm kidding. But if you want to,
no, it's fair. Don't read it. Save yourself the time and money.
Yeah,
don't do it.
You really should. But I would just do the Thrawn trilogy, and then I would do Jedi, and just skip the whole Jedi Academy thing. I go straight to the duology, just because you can read the one book and get the majority of what's happening and who the characters are. And if you pick up the duology, it'll feel really, really natural. And then straight into New Jedi Order from there. That's I think the best way to do it. If I was to do the whole thing animated, that is exactly what I would do. Live action Thrawn needs to resist the temptation of Imperial donuts.
That he's eating too much of those crackers that what would you call it? Pershing was eating. Like,
yeah, those cookies or whatever.
Yeah.
Let's see here. In new canon, there's the idea that Sith spirits can manifest in objects like masks and lightsabers. Having Mara finding something owned by Palpatine and being possessed. Gone.
Okay, hang on. He hit that one, and then there's one later on that you said about Olivia Wilde. That's like Travis is on a roll tonight. I was gonna say, like,
that is such a good a way to put it. That could work.
And they even could parallel like in Rebels, with the Night Sisters, and when Ezra and when Sabine and Kanan get like mind controlled. Like it could turn out kind of like that in a way, like how
and we know we're getting Night Sisters, so man, I'm all for it. I'm all for
Emperor's Hand.
That'd be so sick. See, it's like the fans always come up with like these crazy ideas, and it's like,
why isn't Disney hiring fans?
I know, right? Having Rey in her new movie going up against Mara, who's being influenced by Palpatine from beyond the grave, could be a direction to go. It could, and I've heard other people say this, like, oh, just bring in Mara now, that like post sequels, and have her like young. I like that would be a bummer to me. Like if we get her
Yeah.
and it's not any kind of story tied to Luke, like that was what was such a big prominent thing in the Thrawn trilogy and the Thrawn duology is like they are there's some sort of like connection between them. And like I said, they don't have to get married. I've said that
Yeah.
previously, but like there needs to be some sort of thing there. I don't
I
know.
like the thing with Rogue One. I didn't think really Cassian. I don't like. I didn't think Jyn Erso and Cassian really like loved each other. Like they weren't like it wasn't like a
It
relationship.
wasn't
It was more of
romantic.
like a
Yeah.
respect thing.
Right.
Where where the ISB officer and
Oh god.
Cyril like
Yeah.
that's like that's that. But I feel like it was more like how Mara and Luke could be. Like they're not in a relationship, but they have enough respect for one another. And
Yeah.
I
No, I would be fine with it being like that. 100%. I think that's you hit it on the head. Jyn and Cassie and
Yeah.
or in Rogue One. That was great. That was well done. Yeah, I'd be fine with something like that. The brown eyes of Mandalore.
Speaking of the devil,
Hello. Hello there. All right. Olivia Wilde is who I could picture as Mara with someone like Sigourney Weaver as an older version of her.
Sigourney Weaver is like perfect. That's what I'm thinking, like an
For
older
like
Mara.
old Mara,
Like,
that'd be so perfect. Yeah, Sigourney's freaking awesome.
yeah, Luke Evans.
Luke Evans.
Thank you
Luke
there,
Evans.
Travis.
Yes. Chris Pine can make a great talent card as well. I love Chris Pine, but I don't know about that.
I'd say when I see Chris Pine, I'm like, all right, I'm waiting for a joke to come out. Like if I see his face, I'm like, all right, how many jokes does he have lined up?
I really liked him as Captain Kirk.
Yeah.
Regardless of what you think about the movies or whatever, I think he actually played Kirk really well, and I can't see him as anyone else. I mean, like I just
Speaking
can't.
of Olivia Wilde, Chris Pine was in a movie with her that she directed, and he did phenomenal in it.
What was the movie?
Don't Worry, Darling. He was in it.
Oh, yeah, I saw that. I
Yeah,
saw that movie.
he was really good in that movie. I thought.
Yeah,
Like,
he was
that was a different take of Chris Pine. Like I was not expecting him to go that route.
Yeah, he's like the villain. Like it was pretty
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, that movie has its issues, but I like him a lot. So yeah. I just don't know about that. If you want to see the Emperor get tucked into bed by Leia, read Dark Empire. Like seriously though, like oh my gosh, man, I can't with that. Having Mara enter Palpatine's old office, getting possessed by him, and then wielding mace. See, I've thought also her getting Mace's saber would be perfect to be like, oh, she's got her purple blade. Because Mace's saber is somewhere. We know it flew down out the window, but it's somewhere. One of these days it's gonna pop up again.
I mean, if Agents of the Empire can find Luke's hand on the ground with the saber,
right?
So can people on Coruscant. They can find Mace's hand and his saber. Not gonna find Mace, but they're gonna find him his stuff.
So I'm gonna spitball a little something here then. So in this, I'd love to get your guys' feedback on something like this. For if we were to take Heir to the Empire and animate it and maybe change some things around to be more aligned with the prequels. We've talked about this, Caden, but I've thought that
you gonna say it?
I'm gonna say it. I think Mace Windu could be a great replacement for Joruus C'baoth. Not that I don't like Joruus or anything like that. It's just that Joruus is a unknown prequels Jedi that only really truly existed in Legends. Whereas if we wanted to tie this to the original movies and the prequels, it could be a clone of Mace Windu, or it could simply just be a survived Mace Windu who's gone absolutely batshit insane.
Because you got to think too, like Mace was already teetering on the dark side, and Joruus,
right?
He wasn't full Sith, and he was more of like a dark Jedi.
But
Mace could feel so betrayed, not only by Anakin but the Republic. Everything with it, like he could almost feel so bad, and that he was the reason why everything went to shit because he couldn't kill Palpatine.
Yeah.
And that could put Mace into that spell of going and
it could drive him nuts. I mean, think about it, he'd be like so much older now at this time of the
and
era. Like he
Sam
would be,
Jackson, like
yes, oh, it would be so freaking perfect. And then to top it all off, at the very end of the Thrawn trilogy, Luke and Mara battle a clone of Luke, right? And he
yeah,
actually has the Bespin saber, well, the OG Anakin saber, which Luke gifts to Mara
yeah,
at
he
the
was
end of
tomorrow.
the trilogy, right? So what if they fight Mace instead, who's got his purple saber, and he gifts that to her? He's like, "Here, you should take this saber." Boom, she's got a purple saber.
Yeah, because then
Perfect.
they don't even need to bring Luke's, because then the whole thing with Luke can go away
Yeah,
with the cloning and all
exactly.
the sketchiness with that, with and not lining up with the prequels. They can get like Marvel,
Right.
like
Oh, we
here's your
cloned him
saber.
in 30 days or whatever. Like
Yeah,
that can go away completely. It's just Mace and here, Mara, here's your saber. It's a purple saber from Mace, and it lines up perfectly with
I
her
gotta say though,
character having a purple saber.
Mace has to have red lightning. He's
Red
got
lightning from his
yeah,
fingers.
red Sith lightning. Mace has to have that. I feel like
That would be cool.
if he uses, because George, obviously George uses it. Look,
George
in the
does use it. He
like
tries to use it on Thrawn.
yeah, well yeah, and Pelion. Like
Yeah.
I feel like with how Mace like teeters and everything, I feel like it would be perfect. But at the same time, that would go like to the Mortis gods with the Son and Anakin, the chosen one.
Yeah.
So that probably won't probably can go away. But I was just thinking like he's got the purple saber, give him the red lightning. Like it's not that much of a stretch. I don't know.
I mean, yeah, so
Maybe.
that's an idea that we've been thrown around. Mace as Sabaoth replacement, basically. Like I said, I've wanted to keep the story as true as possible to the book. But there's just a few inconsistencies. If I were to watch episodes 1 through 6 and then pick up the book, some things aren't going to make sense, unfortunately,
Yeah.
because the books were written before episodes 1 through 3 were finished. So that's the reason I tend to maybe lean towards that direction.
And
But
too,
we're
yeah, because
gonna
you gotta make it fit with everything that we now have knowledge of.
right. And I think it'd be more fun to watch something that fits with the rest of it than something that makes that has some
Yeah.
inconsistencies. Personally, so um,
I like the facet of Shadow of the Sith with Axiom Panchard mentioned by Travis.
oh, that's the that is the whole like Sith objects can like
Yeah.
basically get into your mind and stuff. Yeah,
Well,
I
look at the
think
Sith
it's
holocron. It's easily doable. We've already seen it happen, so it's already in canon. Obviously, Travis had said too, it's in the new canon, so
yeah.
it fits.
I grew up around a lot of military dudes, so we've with each other all the time. Is this in reference to something? I'm like, maybe I'm too far gone now. Is this about the Imperial Donuts?
I'm assuming that's what it was.
Maybe
Maybe-
Luke was just hiding specifically from Mara on the island. She is.
You'd be so
She's like
scared.
fucking crazy.
Yeah.
He's like, I gotta get away. Oh my gosh. All right. I think the Mace being Sabaoth route works if he's redeemed at the end, even if he dies.
I wouldn't want him to be redeemed. I want him to
Me
be too
neither.
far gone.
I want him to like, just be like so gone that he's just like, I don't know, he just fucking loses his mind.
Have
That would be the only way to kill him too, because if he was redeemed, you wouldn't want to kill him. I mean,
Yeah.
you'd want to be like, go
Have you
make
seen-
amends with Boba Fett.
Have you seen Encanto?
I've never seen it. No.
Okay, I would say there's a character named Bruno in there, and he's kind of like that, but he gets redeemed at the end. I'd want him to be like where his mind is just so lost that he isn't. Like
Yeah,
Mace has
and
been on
like-
Wayland for 30 some years, just blaming himself, but
God.
not in the whiny Skywalker way from 8. I want him to be like in a hatred way.
Right. Keep in mind, Filoni can still do this, guys.
And Sam
in
Jackson
his
said
movie.
to Bryce, like, "Bring me back." So
Right. He can still do this. And think about how it ties into Boba Fett's story so well, because we know
And
Boba has had
yeah.
so much like conflict with Mace in the past.
You killed my father. It's just like,
Oh, it'd be so sick. I had an insane Mace Windu in my Mandalorian Rising book. I needed Boba Fett to have a main villain to fight. Yep. And I still need to check out your book, but yeah, that is sick. That is awesome. Having Mace be the one to kill Thrawn instead of his bodyguard would streamline things, I think. Ooh.
It's an interesting route to take that.
Yeah, I mean, if he's being redeemed in a way that he's going to kill Thrawn, or maybe he's just gone so crazy that he thinks he can overpower Thrawn and kills him, there, that could work. That could work.
Yeah. While Thrawn thinks he's manipulating him into using him as his own personal like Jedi, Mace is really like, no, I'm just getting close enough to kill you.
Yeah.
And Mace be like, well, this is how I'm bringing the Republic back, but it's really not. It's his own twisted way.
Well, because he's gone. So yeah,
yes,
he's basically disillusioned with everything.
Yeah.
Best villains have some kind of personal connection to the heroes. I agree. I mean, look at Vader. Like, what made him so incredible was that he was Luke Skywalker's father, and that being revealed.
Same thing too with Mace. Luke Skywalker being Anakin's son. Anakin ruined the Republic. Mace out the window, hand off. Like,
yeah,
there's tension there.
If Mace was still alive and had some sort of like, there would be some serious animosity towards Luke because he's Anakin's son.
He'd want to end the Skywalker bloodline right then and there.
Yeah, and that's where we could, and because Boba Fett has the conflict as well, we could see Boba and Luke team up in a way which would be unfreaking believable.
I'm telling you, I'm so on par for your what you said about how Boba being the new Talon card.
I think it's very possible.
That's how it would fit too with Mara.
Yeah, right. It makes too much sense. It makes so much sense that they're not going to do it. They're just gonna like go their own way. Oh my gosh.
Having the clones Thrawn creates resemble Jango Fett would work too. I mean, that'd be cool. But do you think that they would have that DNA still though? Because Kamino's destroyed. Maybe they have it on Wayland from Pershing, but that's right. That's hard. Maybe
they took all the Kamino stuff to Wayland, from what we understand in Bad Batch.
But the clones were already 10 years prior, like all that DNA being used. They were spitting out any new ones. I think after. Right before Return of the Jedi, or not Return of the Jedi, Revenge of the Sith.
Revenge of the Sith, they weren't.
They're done.
That's right.
So,
well, they mentioned in Bad Batch that there was something wrong with the DNA strand, like it was breaking down.
It was like tainted in some way, where it wasn't holding up.
Yeah. So, what can you do? I can see Mason just saying "fuck you, Thrawn." The first F word in Star Wars is Mace. That would be too perfect.
Sam Jackson, yeah, that's. In the Miniverse, you have both Boba and Ahsoka, the two who were screwed over the most by Mace. Finding out he's being used by the Empire, having to save him would be compelling. Yeah,
Boba would. I just can't
but
see.
I feel like Boba wouldn't. Yeah, I can't see him like laying down for that though.
Ahsoka would. Ahsoka 100% would, but Boba. Hell no.
Especially Ahsoka the White now. I could.
Yeah. She would. Yeah.
I think Boba would just be like Boba would go like into like a rampage.
I think that would spiral him. Yeah, I think so. I agree. Well said. Yep.
Fully caught up on comments.
Yeah, we have caught up, so I can. Oh, did you have something before? I wanted to show some of the art and stuff.
Only the fact that Hayden Christensen has signed with the Writers Guild and Actors Guild, so now he can be returning to acting regularly as well as Star Wars.
That's very tiny, but yeah, he's back.
So yeah, like I don't know if you've seen American Heist with Hayden. It was with him, Akon, and Adrian Brody. Adrian Brody could also play Talon Card. I could totally see Adrian Brody like.
Akon, the singer, was in this?
Yes. Akon, Adrian Brody, and Hayden Christensen. Jordana Brewster, Mia from Fast and Furious was in it too. Really good.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Cool.
Adrian Brody and Hayden Christensen are brothers.
Okay.
It's. I think it came out in like 2010, maybe. It's pretty good.
Right on. Yeah, no, I might have to check that one out. That sounds sick.
Hayden doesn't.
I like Hayden. I mean, he's I think he gets a bad rap, but I mean, there was just some poor writing, which he made the most of. So
and Hayden was the most like poster child as he could have been for George Lucas. He did everything he possibly could that George wanted him to do. He did. So yeah, it's not on Hayden.
I agree. I agree. We can't fault him for
Yeah.
reading lines, and especially the way that Lucas wanted them to be read. So you know,
Yeah.
can't fault him one bit. All right, guys. So I just wanted to share this with everyone. Just quick couple updates. Like I said, we haven't really done much in the past week or two because of Thanksgiving and stuff. But Ben, who is in the chat earlier, at least, his channel's linked in the description below. He is, going to be working as an animator with us, and he's done some quick SketchUps, to make sure that we can keep the art style aligned, across everyone. And honestly, he's doing a great job. I feel like he
Yeah.
captured it really well. Here's from the thing. I mean, I feel like we're doing a good job here. So,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. So Ben, really appreciate the sketches. This one I loved. I thought it was really cool. It's like,
That's so
I don't know
sick.
if these are like blaster bolts coming at him.
Yeah. Deflecting blaster bolts.
Yeah, that's so sick. Love that one. Um, Here's another sketch of Luke.
It looks perfect. Like from.
Yeah. I mean, that looks just absolutely freaking great. Here's Mara again. And then he was actually doing the one in color, and he sent me an update like right before I got on, which was really cool. He did, I'm gonna pull this up. He did some shading on the hair. This gonna work. Yeah, here we go. So he's doing some cell shading there, which is, yeah, I mean, it's awesome. We got the green eyes, we got the red hair. That's them right there. Love it.
Yeah.
Getting some definite anime vibes from your work, your guys' work. Yep. That's what we're going for,
Yeah.
right?
So that's the
So,
look.
I mean, this is like a fully cleaned up shot right here. I mean, it is full on. I mean, this is the anime look, right? That's the goal. So here's a couple other. You guys have already seen this, obviously, but um, very much shaded like anime, drawn like anime. Um, that's the whole goal here. I did start working on a scene for the trailer, the Dark Force Rising trailer. Um, and what this is the Millennium Falcon floating over Endor. And for those of you that don't know, Leia goes to Endor to meet with Kabarak, who is the other Nogri, and she leaves the Falcon there. Um, Now, when she leaves it there, Thrawn comes by and the Chimera and scoops it up, and he essentially thinks that I think Leia is actually going to be there, and she's not. So he comes by and takes the Falcon aboard, which there's some really great things that happen later where they get it back, but won't get too much into that. So basically this scene is just going to be the Falcon just kind of floating aimlessly in orbit of Endor here, and then what we're going to have is the shadow kind of come over the top of the ship, which is the imposing Star Destroyer, the Chimera, and that'll be one small clip from the Dark Force Rising trailer. So, started some work on that, and of course, still animating the opening scene for Heir to the Empire, which is a whole nother thing. And as you can see, we're still going for that anime drawn look here, even though this is a 3D model. So, this is kind of the thing that takes time, is getting even these clouds and stuff. This is literally a picture of Earth. I took it and put it into Photoshop and worked on it a little bit and made it a little more green. And like, this is just literally an image, against a 2D background. So we are using some 2D elements even on the 3D stuff. Which
It's
is
just like the animated Clone Wars show. Like there was 2D
right.
and 3D used, like the LAATs. Those were 3D.
Yeah,
Those were,
exactly.
Those were CG, which is obviously what this is.
So yeah, I mean, that's kind of what we're going for here, guys. that's like I said, I haven't worked on much. I got started on this. I let me see. I did a little bit of animating last week on stream with this. Oh shoot, that's not the right scene. Open. Let's go. This one. So this is our opening scene still where we're. That's not at all we want. Oh shit.
And we'll see quickly
Here we
too.
go.
For it being out now with everything with Mace, go back and rewatch the first trailer. Really pay attention to everything, especially with the stuff on Wayland. You will see there's some things there for the eyes to catch that will really put it in perspective how it's going to work out.
That is 100% correct. So, we are. Like I said, I kind of want to go in the direction of making a few small changes that just line up with canon more. It has nothing to do with the fact that I don't want to be true to the books. I do want to be as true to the books as possible. I've always just felt like the inconsistencies kind of are down parts of the books for me. So, yeah.
You want to make the experience as a whole up, not down. And if tweaking things here and there is what's needed, and that's what's needed.
Yep. 100%. So, yeah. So, I mean, I've literally got one X-Wing animated. I've only 5 more to go. So, on this shot, this is literally just the opening shot. And I mean, this stuff just takes a long time, guys. Especially when it's just one person doing it.
There's a reason why VFX houses have multiple different VFX artists, and why movies take years, a year to 2 years, just to do post production.
Right. Stuff exactly.
Like this. Especially a lot of stuff is hand animated, hand composited. It's a process.
That's right. I mean, this isn't even. We haven't even gotten to the once we start doing characters again and stuff. I mean, that took last time just for the 1 minute trailer. It took 4 months, I want to say. I mean, it took a long time, So,
yeah.
And it will take time. So,
just imagine how long like recreating the trench run would take.
Oh my gosh, and like this style,
yeah,
just unbelievable. I like how like these ones, I just had them like stop as soon as they got past the camera because I'm like, there's no point in animating them for that point. You know what I mean?
Don't use the more RAM if you don't have to.
Right. Especially like this massive like frigate is taking up so much. Like every time I'm in here, like takes forever to load. You can see it's like chopping in and out like as it's here, but when I render it, it looks fine. So yeah, but that's really all I got in terms of updates. It looks like we maybe have some more messages, so I don't know if we wanted to maybe try and catch up on those again.
Yeah, I'll start with Han. I think Hans was where we left off. Thrawn is Napoleon, basically. If he was at Endor, the rebels would have lost. Exactly. If Thrawn didn't get zipped away, A New Hope wouldn't have happened. The Death Star wouldn't have got blown up. If Thrawn was there, it wouldn't have happened.
I agree.
So
100%. 100.
I do think there's something compelling about Mace finding out that the Jedi fell, the Empire rising and falling, all because of his arrogance like his. All because of arrogance like his. Yeah, that's the main point for me, anyways. Like, it makes sense. Mace would be like royally pissed off, not only at himself but in general.
I mean, I think he would partially just try and blame Anakin completely.
Do you think so? I feel like Mace would blame himself for not stopping Anakin. For
that might be,
not
but like
Palpatine.
At the end of the day, Anakin stopped him from killing Palpatine. At least he thinks he did.
Well,
but
the entire time too, he was shitting on Anakin. But there was, I don't know, I'm sure you've seen the deleted scene where Mace was like defending Anakin.
Right.
So,
I always thought that they should have leaned into that more. The whole
Yeah.
like Mace actually defending Anakin to some degree, because like in the movie he's like over the top,
Yeah,
like hates
Mace is
that
just a
kid.
dick, like flat out.
Yeah.
He's just a dick. Like,
Right? Yeah. He's
but then
not
we
nice
get we
to
get him
Anakin.
in Tails, and he's amazing. We get him in Clone Wars, especially season 7. He's amazing.
Right.
It's just the context. I feel like more is like needed.
Yeah, I think that's probably it.
Because at
So
the same time too, Mace would be like, "Well, how did we see this? How did we not see this happening? How did we let this happen? Why did we? How did we not prevent this from happening sooner?"
but it would probably drive him nuts.
Yeah, no,
Let's be
it
honest,
would, because
so.
he'd be spiraling. Like,
Yeah, for sure.
just talking about American Heist, by the way. That next comment. It's a quote from Adrian Brody. Like,
Okay, I gotta see this movie. I've never heard of it.
It's really good. But the Emperor was more keen on his empire. Sorry, go ahead, Joe.
Oh no, go ahead. You're already halfway through it.
But the Emperor was more keen on his empire of the hand in the unknown regions to prepare for the extragalactic threats, as well as his xenophobia. Yeah, because Thrawn was the only non-human species to become an admiral, especially a grand admiral. He was the only one.
I mean, I think he was the only one to command a ship at all.
Yeah, and everyone that was below him, like not obviously with the Seventh Fleet, but the others that he passed. I think Tarkin hated Thrawn, or it was like,
Really?
very like Tarkin definitely did not agree with Thrawn being a Grand Admiral. He was very like.
I do remember.
I'd almost say like
there were several Imperial like admirals that didn't like Thrawn. I know
think
that was
Tarkin
definitely a thing.
Was more of like almost insecure. Like Thrawn could have replaced Tarkin. If Thrawn was given the time, I think Thrawn could have proven more viable than Tarkin in the future. Like if the Empire didn't get destroyed in the future, if Tarkin kept making mistakes.
Oh, 100%. Thrawn takes that role, but I don't think Thrawn ever ends up supporting something like the Death Star because he didn't believe in it, and he had his own ideas of how the rebellion should have been defeated, which he would have been correct. Yeah, and obviously with the whole thing with the chiss. That art looks great. Art, I think you meant?
Yeah,
yes, it does. Yeah. So, yeah, shout out to Ben once again. I'm getting some definite anime vibe. Yep. That's what we're going for. Here we go. Hans says, tweaking things are definitely necessary for later 90s Star Wars books, whether they are either Legends novels later on or adaptation of those stories into the new canon. I agree. They need a little bit of tweaking. I mean, the Thrawn trilogy and the duology are about as perfect as they get to me. But there's always a little bit of inconsistencies just because they were written when they were written.
Yeah, because like looking at it from like a canon perspective, like it took 10 years to make the clones for the Clone Wars, not 30 days for a Luke Skywalker clone. I don't know how long it took for Gideon's. I would assume 5 years, maybe, if not longer, because they're waiting for the Force sensitivity.
So, we don't know how long he's been based out on Mandalore. We have no idea.
Yeah. We don't even know how long he was operating before that, too, with Pershing.
Right.
Because Pershing was there from episode 1, I believe.
Yeah.
At the end of episode 1. So how long has him and Pershing been cloning him? They were looking for the Force sensitivity. Obviously, they know that they can clone him, but now they need the genes.
Yeah.
So, yeah, everything's possible.
Go ahead, you can read this.
Mace would have resented Anakin, but ultimately the prophecy is fulfilled by him, so his struggle is questioning the cost to getting there.
I think he would have resented him. I still have to believe that. But yeah, I don't know if he maybe would have been like, oh no, Anakin was like the one. Unless what if he knew about Darth Vader though too? Because then I think he would hate Anakin. If he watched it, if from the shadows he watched Anakin actually join Palpatine after,
I would say yes, but not his redemption. Mace can't know about his redemption.
Right, Mace cannot know about the redemption. I agree,
and I don't think a lot of people even. I don't think it was public knowledge either. So
No,
It'd
I
be really
mean,
hard for
even
him
most
to.
people didn't even know Leia was related to,
Bloodlines,
him.
yeah.
So his redemption was essentially like a secret between Luke and him.
If Mace found out everything though, yeah,
I just
facts.
want to see if Ace is arrogant. We see during this time spent with Jar Jar that he's able to see through surface flaws of others.
Same thing with Dooku, with the whole murder stuff, the plot entails.
Sure, and I agree with this take on Mace, and I think that's why I'm saying though, like, in what I think, Caden, we're probably aligned on this. I think in this version that we would see of Mace, he would have spiraled into that arrogance though a little
Yeah.
bit. You know what I mean? Like
He would have
it's
lost
been,
control of himself.
yeah. I mean, when you spiral to the dark side, he's going to give in to those emotions that he probably shouldn't be if he wanted to be a good Jedi.
I know I bring up Rebels a lot, but Ezra is a perfect example of we've already seen what it can do. Because Ezra was being like extremely arrogant when he started using the holocron and
Right.
letting the dark side take over at times. I mean, look, he forced the Walker just to walk off and commit suicide, like along with a whole bunch of other things. Like we've already seen what it can do to a Padawan. What can it do to a Grand Master? I mean, he's not a grandmaster, but he's right there.
I mean, he is basically. He was like at the one step below. I mean, he was like the next to be the grandmaster there. So
yeah, which it was the master of the order. So yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
Like
It's a
like what would it do to Yoda? Yoda turned to the dark side. It like the possibilities are endless of what could happen. That's what we're trying to explore.
Yep. The original Mace and the other three Masters vs. Palpatine was so much better than what we got. The same with Boba Fett and Return of the Jedi. Lots of footage was cut. Yeah, I've seen the Mace fight. Yeah, that would have been pretty cool if they could have done that. Also, the Dooku fight from Revenge of the Sith. There's a extended version of that.
It was so
pretty awesome.
So cool.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. I don't know if they changed it because due to the limitations of having someone like God, I'm blanking on the guy's name. Who played Dooku?
Christopher. You're doing it to me now too.
Don't know why I'm doing this. Christopher. Holy Jesus, he's in Lord of the Rings.
Christopher Lee. What am I? Yeah, Christopher Lee.
Okay, yeah. I don't know if it was like. Oh my gosh, him and Ian McDermott. I don't know if it was like just maybe they couldn't. I mean, they were a little bit older at the time, so I don't know if it was just like, we can't have these guys doing like these crazy stunts to make it look good.
I don't think it was that because they were able to do it for episode 2, and what they explained with episode 2 is that it's hard to do the face replacement in action with the motion blur and everything and making it look right. That's what I think was the hardest thing was struggling was making it look like flawless. Because early 2000s CGI was not very that good. Like it peaked.
No, it's
Iron Man.
Rough
that's where it all
some of this stuff. Yeah, Iron Man is a perfect blend of practical and CGI though.
Yeah, and so with having to do Christopher Lee and Ian McDermott, and with them moving around and everything, it's going to be hard to make it look perfect for that amount of time.
Yeah,
and I think that's what it was. It was just they were restrained by the time that they had. Or sorry, they were restrained from technology wise at the time.
at during the time.
Now they can do them perfectly fine, but just then they couldn't.
Yeah, I think that's part of it. Do you think Mace and Thrawn would find common ground in the failure of the Emperor? Mace questioning why Yoda would train the heir of Vader. The heir of Vader? Oh, like Luke? But I do think Luke would be able to reach him in the end. Yeah, it would be really interesting to see Thrawn and like a disillusioned like Mace interact. I mean, that's a whole thing I haven't really thought about too much along. I think about it. I think about him a lot, like as a replacement for Jorah Sabaoth, but I don't think about the interactions with Thrawn that much. I mean, like I said, I mean, in my head, he's too far. He spiraled so far down the dark side that he just has lost his mind, and he's just as crazy as Sabaoth was in the books. So I think that the interactions go very similarly.
So I got one for you too with that. With Thrawn knowing Anakin and Anakin being Vader, that's how Mace could figure everything out that Anakin did, and that would fuel him even more to hate Luke. Because
Yeah.
Thrawn knows everything Anakin has become. He's seen it firsthand. So
Yeah, he could use that as like a way to twist
that's
Mace even further. Like,
and
look, we
that
can get
yeah,
revenge on this dude. Yeah.
like yeah,
That's a
and
good point. That's
we've
a
seen
really good
Thrawn
point.
manipulate like that on Legends and Rebels and in Ahsoka.
Oh, 100%. He'll twist whatever to get
Yeah,
his way, man.
I mean, have you finished the Thrawn canon trilogy yet? I don't want to spoil anything.
No. I'm doing the prequel one, not the Rebels era one right
Oh,
now.
no, yeah, it's the Ascendancy trilogy. I'm talking
Oh,
about.
okay. Yeah. No, I haven't finished it. I'm
Because you
literally on
haven't
the
gotten
first
to the
book
part with
still.
yeah, okay, yeah, I don't want to spoil anything then. But there's
No,
stuff there with
I've heard
Thrawn.
some stuff, but
Yeah, with Thrawn and Vader, there's a very interesting dynamic there. I'll wait for you to get to it, but from that story alone, that's canon. Thrawn could definitely make Mace really pissed off, and spiral out of control with that.
interesting. All right.
Especially with what he does to. Yeah, okay, I can't.
I've heard a little bit about it. I heard he does try to like manipulate and get under Anakin's skin a little bit.
Yes.
But, yeah.
How he goes about it is what like how he could do the exact thing to Mace. And
Okay.
Mace
Well,
wouldn't be able to tell.
I'm still
Yeah.
yet to see. So
Yeah, I'm not going to
excited
go
to see that.
further.
All right. Appreciate that. Dooku briefly mentioned the terror on the galaxy that which Yoda could bring if he only turned to the dark side. Yeah, Yoda on the dark side would be. Oh, no one would want to experience that. Yeah. There's also the idea of the Shatterpoint, Mace being able to see Thrawn from the start, setting up him, killing him in the end.
Do you think he'd go along with it for that long though?
That's like really long. Yeah.
If
we're talking like
that's like Thrawn like type of like I don't know. I mean Mace, I guess Mace is pretty smart too, but I don't know.
Now all this talk about Mace though is just making me hope that we do see him in canon again. Like they could do this so well. I mean, there's so many ideas that you guys have thrown out, and it's like, yeah, I'm all for most of it, honestly. So Dark Rendezvous, but Yoda is shown at the end taking the more difficult route of the light side, but unlike Dooku, he has friends and people who actually love him and not just minions. I don't know what Dark Rendezvous is. There's just so much Star Wars content. Like I can't even, you know what I mean? Like I just, that might be is that a comic? Is that like a book? I don't know that one.
Yeah, it's a book. That's a Legends novel. Sean Stewart.
Really? Okay. Is
Clone
it
Wars multimedia project?
It's the Clone Wars multimedia. Okay, so the Clone Wars multimedia. The only thing I've ever experienced out of that is obviously the 2D micro series.
Yeah, it's a Yoda book. Yoda Dark Rendezvous, a Clone Wars novel.
That's cool. I would
Dooku
like
and Yoda on the front cover.
I would like to dive into the Clone Wars multimedia project. The other multimedia project that Lucasfilm did was obviously Shadows of the Empire, which is awesome. There's a book, a comic, and a video game, and it takes place between episodes 5 and 6, or is it 4 and 5? Nope, 5 and 6. Because Han is in carbonite during the time. It's Shadows of the Empire is the if I could animate anything like in 2D like tomorrow, it would be the Thrawn trilogy and then Shadows of the Empire right afterwards.
I'm telling you, we're gonna get hints of that in Outlaws. We're going to.
It's I'm hoping so. It's the exact same time frame. I'm hoping we get some Prince Zizor, or we know that Dash Rendar exists in canon because he was mentioned in the canon book.
Yeah, so, I'm telling you that new guy is. There's no way that's not
Katarn.
There's no way they wouldn't do that. Like
rip off his entire look.
Yeah, it's gotta be telling.
Kyle Katarn. Yeah, I hope it is.
Especially after replaying Outcast and Academy, like.
Yeah. Darth Hansel says, any Legends novels pre-original trilogy either you recommend? Kenobi, Darth Revan, Dawn of the Jedi, Plagueis.
Yeah, I would say definitely the Plagueis book.
Yeah, it's not called Plagueis though, it's called something else.
It's
it's the Palpatine Plagueis book. That one is the one you want to check out.
Yeah, it's just called Darth Plagueis. That's what it's called.
Oh, it is called Darth Plagueis. Okay.
I would say that, and honestly, probably everything to do with the Jedi. I don't know exactly which book it is, but everything with the Jedi and Tython.
Oh, that's the Dawn of the Jedi, I think.
Is it fully like, because I know there's multiple books that go into that everything.
I think it's Dawn of the Jedi. Or at least the comics were called Dawn of the Jedi that touched on Tython. Kenobi is amazing. Revan is a hit or miss. Dawn of the Jedi was a chore to get through. Dawn of the Jedi comics are much better. That's what I was referring to. The comics are the ones I know. I've seen several issues where the whole Tython and the Jedi that arrive there
I don't
kind of start the order.
I mean, I guess this is kind of not it's not like a original trilogy, but I would say Dark Disciples.
I've heard really good things. I've never
Quinlan Voss and Ventress. Yeah.
I've heard that's a really good one. Another one that's actually, it takes place during the original trilogy, kind of like Shadows of the Empire, is going to be Allegiance. And that is another Timothy Zahn. So it's got it doesn't have Thrawn in it, but it does have Mara and Luke, Han, and Leia. And one of my favorite aspects of the book is we start to see like the foundation of Han and Leia's relationship. Because obviously, if you watch like 4 and then jump into 5, it's just kind of like all of a sudden there clearly was something that happened there, and Han is all feeling salty about it. But like that is all touched on in the book Allegiance, which is it's a fun one. Definitely recommend it.
I will say too, I did read this when I was younger, and it's definitely been 10 years. Maybe not 10 years. Maybe I would say Cloak of Deception. It goes into Qui-Gon a whole lot.
Oh, cool.
And it's Legends. That's one that really makes me think of that too. Yeah, I think that's
honestly, if you're looking for prequel novels, read the movies. The novelizations of the movies are fantastic. Or the audiobooks even. They're great.
I just saw it. It's not the giant book, but I just saw it at Target. I was gonna pick it up. The Star Wars Archives for episode 4, 5, and 6 is at Target. It's like $20.
Oh, that's cool.
And there's so much
like
in
a
there.
coffee table book or something.
Yeah, it's probably the size of like a, I would say the Inquisitor Red Blade book. But it's a three book set, and it has everything. There's interviews with Paul Duncan in there. It has stuff like concept art and other different stories. That's something that's really cool. Theory did stuff for the prequels with the big red book.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember seeing that. That was cool.
Yeah, it's like $20 at Target. It was just on a shelf. I saw it just sitting there. I'm like, all right, I'm not picking up next time I'm here.
Yeah, that's sick.
I would definitely give that a read.
One thing in episode 3 is Palpatine's plans factored for Obi-Wan and Yoda, but he's legit taken off guard by Mace being there. I see Thrawn seeing Mace as an anomaly to the Jedi. Hard to read. He definitely was taken aback by Mace, and I still am like undecided on if Mace actually defeated him or if like Palpatine is just like playing it up for Anakin. I still don't know.
I think Palpatine definitely didn't get his ass kicked. I think he let Mace like think he had the upper hand. Because
I think so too. That Force lightning didn't come out until it was the right time.
Because he could have done that from the start. He could have just shot them all from the exact start.
That's my thought. Yeah.
Like the second he knew Anakin was there was when he was like, all right, I need to, this is my shot. I gotta take a step back and let Mace kick my ass.
Yeah, it's interesting. Maybe he like felt, Anakin coming to the rescue or something.
He definitely did. I mean,
yeah,
it's the thing. Like, because I don't know. I feel like Palpatine, if he didn't know Anakin was coming, he didn't sense he was coming, he would have put up more of a fight. But the second he knew Anakin was coming, he's like, all right, I need to let Mace get the upper hand, because Anakin needs to see Palpatine about to die to save him, to turn him, to make that split second decision. He needed him to get to that point. I don't think Palpatine would have let himself die.
I don't think so either. So that's the part where I'm kind of like, I don't know. But like it, the way the movie, visualizes it makes it seem like Mace could have potentially beat him. So that's the only thing where I'm kind of like, the movie doesn't really give us those hints of like, oh no, Palpatine had the upper hand the whole time.
I would
So
really
I
be
don't know.
interested in asking Ian McDermott what he thinks.
I
And
would.
if
I just
because
want to ask George.
I,
Like,
I
what
feel
did
like
you mean here?
I feel like Ian McDermott would be like he I could see him like hinting at something, but then just kind of like joking about it. But I could definitely see like Ian McDermott knowing from George, like, yes, this was from the start.
Yeah, well, I think
I
it's
mean,
definitely.
you gotta think
I'd love to hear his take on it for sure.
he orchestrated this for over 20 years. Just like he
So
had to
crazy to
have,
think about. Like when he was meeting with in Tales of Jedi, when he's like still meeting with Dooku, like way back when.
yeah,
It's
like
like, yeah,
he's been pulling the strings from the exact start.
yeah. I
Like,
he
like
wouldn't. Yeah,
I
it's
think
very
honestly,
unlikely he would let his guard down at that point, that late in the game.
since he killed Plagueis is when he started this whole his whole master plan.
Oh yeah,
Because
100%. When
like
he killed Plagueis, that's when he got in his head that he could essentially rule the galaxy.
yeah,
That the Sith would once again rule the galaxy, at
because the
least.
only other person that could have defeated him is now dead.
Right.
I mean, Palpatine took a cheap shot too. He got him while he was asleep. Like,
Which also, like, I've always like thought, like, how did Plagueis not see it coming? Like
I mean,
the turn, I guess, but
because at the same time too, like I would feel like, I mean, okay, if Palpatine can keep that side of him away from the Jedi Order for over 20 years, probably even longer since he was in the Senate beforehand, before becoming Supreme Chancellor. If he's able to keep them off his trail for that long, I don't think Plagueis could saw it coming. If he's already to deceive Yoda, Mace, the Jedi Council in general, he could deceive Plagueis. I feel like.
I mean, I guess we don't. Plagueis was obviously. I mean, I would say Plagueis is more powerful, but yeah, you're right. Yoda's probably just as powerful. So, I mean, he
And
deceived Yoda. So,
yeah, so this is the thing. Like, who couldn't he have deceived? Like, it's just so weird. Like, yeah,
yeah, no, I mean, obviously, Palpatine was extremely powerful in the Force. So I don't like what they ended up doing to Revan. They massacred my boy. Yeah, just play the games.
yep.
Revan
Old Republic.
rocks in the games. Thrawn could influence Mace by reasoning that the New Republic is on Coruscant and the daughter of Vader is one of its leaders.
That's how I'd want if they're gonna do Bloodlines. That's how I'd want it, was Thrawn exposing that.
Yeah, I
It's like a
agree.
piece of
Thrawn
information.
exposing her would be
That could
so
be part of the
sick.
plot for Heir to the Empire. Honestly, if they want to like
Yeah,
change it up a
for
little bit,
Dave's movie.
yes, that would be perfect. Because obviously we know she still has power in the Senate with 3PO. So
It would be a good way for the New Republic to turn on her and to also possibly not believe whatever she's saying about Thrawn being back and stuff like that. So it
I
would
mean,
be
you
a
already know,
really good way to make her untrustworthy in the New Republic.
and you already know Xiono has a hard on for just shitting on everyone.
Yeah,
So
dude,
like
that guy, he can,
yeah,
he can just go away.
he's gonna take
Can't
any
stand him.
chance he can get to like trash.
He
people
is
like
the
that.
new Borsk Phalia. They just didn't want to spend the CGI money for a Borsk Phalia, so they gave us freaking
Senator Xiono.
Xiono instead. Revan is Rev is oof.
That's a deep take.
Yeah, wow. Okay, let's see.
Revan versus Vitiate was epic and intense, like a boss fight you would have been grinding for, but even after hours of prepping, you still don't know if it's going to go in your favor. Yeah. If Vitiate was in the current Republic, they wouldn't have stood a chance.
Yeah, I think that's part of the issues though, that like with the old Republic and stuff, is that some of the power levels seem way out of whack
Okay,
versus like what we
Nihilus,
came.
like,
Yeah, right. Nihilus
they
is
they gotta dumb that down a little
absurd.
bit.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
absorbing planets, like, it's cool.
Just,
I'll eat that up all day long, but like,
well, he's eating them up too. He's eating the planets. So there's the moment where Mace and Sidious are crossing sabers, and Sidious' face is trembling, showing he's really struggling. I think he was trying to prolong the fight, but losing steam. Yeah, see, that's the thing.
So,
I said, like, visually, we get when we watch the movie, you get a different sense of how the fight was going when you watch it just visually. But I think there's extra context there about like he could have sensed Anakin
well,
coming and put himself in a compromising position on purpose.
look at how he did it with Luke, though, on Endor, on the Death Star. Like Palpatine definitely could have been way more involved in that, but he was more just trying to manipulate.
Yeah, that's
Like
true. He
like
could have
Palpatine really
put it
was
into
like,
that
yeah.
quickly. Yeah.
But he wanted Luke to kill Vader and Luke to take Vader's spot. Dark
Yeah.
Empire. Like it's what he was trying to get to. Was like,
right. Dark
I mean, like,
Empire.
am I wrong though? Like
Yeesh.
that's what he's trying. What he was trying to get to was like Luke
I-
as his
the
apprentice.
the motives in Dark Empire were good. Were right. I
Yeah.
yes. The it's just everything else about it sucks.
Yeah,
I mean, Palpatine in Dark Empire is Palpatine. I'll give him that. I mean,
Yeah.
they wrote him well. I just can't stand it. So
Anything done by Jude Watson, James Luceno, Drew, and Sean are good reads. I'm terrible with names. I am too. No worries.
I am too, but I know Luceno, and I can at least attest for him. What I don't think Palpatine was accounting for was Anakin confiding in Mace, as there was such resentment between the two. Yeah, maybe he didn't, and maybe because obviously Anakin goes to Mace and he's like, "Hey, Palpatine's the Sith Lord, guys. That you guys been waiting for or looking for, or whatever." So maybe he just was like,
I think Palpatine knew that no one would believe him, though. I think Palpatine like fully told Anakin, knowing that he would run back to the Jedi.
"Yeah,
But no one would truly like believe him. Like Mace was skeptical, but I think Palpatine knew when he was like telling Anakin like you are the Sith Lord. Like I think Palpatine knew Anakin was gonna go run back to the Order. That's why Palpatine was waiting in his throne room, like to spin around in his chair, like he was waiting. Like I just gotta say, this book gives so much context to that with Palpatine doing stuff just like that.
Yeah, I remember you telling me a little bit about that. So yeah, I think Palpatine's always got his plan, man. I want to go back and read Outbound Flight and Death Trooper. So brilliant. Yeah, so Outbound Flight is cool, and that is where we do get the real Jorah Sabaoth is an Outbound Flight. So Zahn tried to build more out in his Legends world, and it does suck sometimes that Lucas didn't take a lot of that to heart and just went his own way with the prequels, but I understand why Lucas did. So that's just getting back on the Jorah Sabaoth thing, obviously, but yeah, Zahn is a great writer. I mean, he's incredible. His Star Wars books, I think, are top tier for the most part. And like I said, it's just a bummer that Lucas didn't take more of his ideas and implement them into the stories. He did take the name Coruscant from Timothy Zahn, though. Little known fact. I'm sure most people actually do know that at this point.
Yeah, I do gotta say though, so two other good like graphic novels if Hans is looking for them. One would be this Thrawn one by Marvel, really good, as well as Legacy's End Darth Vader. It's like I think a 3 or 4 part story. It's early Vader, right after episode 3. But like very good. Everything which Jocasta knew, very good.
Yeah, I want to get that Thrawn one. I've heard it's pretty good. Yeah, that's a canon one too. So
yep, yeah, these are both canon, I believe.
Yeah, I have to check those out.
Yeah, Darth Vader, Dark Lord of the Sith, Legacy's End.
I know the Dark Lord of the Sith one. I just that Thrawn one. I'd seen that elsewhere, and I thought that looked pretty good.
It's the like Thrawn in prison.
Oh yeah.
So.
One detail is that Mace is about to leave the planet before Anakin catches him. Palpatine was probably accounting for him to be off-world. Anakin going straight to some of the weaker Jedi.
Definitely could have been, because then he could have just wiped them out. But
I really think it doesn't matter. I think Palpatine's entire plan was to make sure that Anakin needed him alive, and that's what it comes down to. Anakin needed Palpatine alive to save Padme, and he was willing to do whatever it took to make sure that happened, and he was going to interfere no matter what. So I think that's where Palpatine's like insurance was.
I also think that's why Palpatine just murked the other 3 Jedi Masters that were there.
Right.
Because he knew that
Instantly.
Mace, like with Mace, he could, like the other ones obviously were not a threat to him. Mace is the only one that's an actual threat besides Yoda.
Yeah. The parallel with the Mace Sidious Vader Luke fight is the Emperor is so focused on seduction that he's not accounting for the dude next to him, which I think would tie neatly into Thrawn. I kind of don't want a Jedi to kill Thrawn.
No, I want it to be someone close to him, like Pelion, for example.
Yeah, Pelion would be incredible. That would be an awesome turn, just because I love Pelion as a character and in the new Jedi Order and everything. I could see that new guy, Enoch being the one too, or maybe even the Night Sisters turning on them. We talked about it last week. There's the whole plot of Leia going to the Nogri homeworld Honiger and proving to them that the Empire did them wrong. Now, the witches currently think the Jedi are the enemy, but the Empire is the one who basically extinguished their race. So, if somehow we can get that message through to the witches, then they might turn on Thrawn too.
I think the witches are going to replace the Nogri.
Yeah, I think so. I think that story is being replaced.
That's
by the
what
witches.
I'm thinking, because the Great Mothers are going to turn on Thrawn. If I'm thinking clearly, that's how that's going to work. The witches are going to replace the Nogri. Leia's going to go to Dathomir. Maybe not even Leia. Maybe even like, no, I think it has to be Leia.
I hope it's Leia, but I could
Leia
see it
and
being
Lando.
like Ezra. I could see it being Ezra and Sabine or something like that.
I mean, Ezra might even know them for how long that he's been there, but they wouldn't want a Jedi. Leia is technically a Jedi.
Leia is a Jedi, but she's not like training to be one. I don't know. I mean, at this point, she's already given it up.
Though. Balin's his own, I'd say Balin's his own entity at this point.
Yeah, they didn't like Sabine. Remember, they thought Sabine smelled like Jedi. So
I don't think they were talking about Sabine though. I think they were talking about Balin and Shin.
Really?
Specifically, more Balin. I think they were talking about Balin. I really think that they were talking about Balin. Possible. I don't think so, because Sabine hadn't tapped into the Force yet at that point in time.
Yeah,
that was later on in the cell afterwards, when she was like somewhat talking with Ahsoka. I really think they were talking about Balin. They were scared of Balin, as they should be.
That might be, and obviously Balin had his own ulterior motives, so I think that lines up pretty well.
Yeah, because Thrawn was like, "Where's Lord Balin?"
Right. I'll check this out at some point. Anything with Vader and his first kicking ass at Dark Time is definitely something I want to read. Yeah, the Vader comic is cool. For sure.
It's definitely, yeah.
Thrawn maybe learned Belly Fu now. They might be finished, bro. Yeah. He's unstoppable, man. The unstoppable Thrawn belly for sure. Oh my gosh. All right. Well, we've been on for quite a while, but I definitely need to call it, I think.
Yeah.
And more to come, guys. We'll be back at it again probably next week if schedules permit. And yeah, look at that. So
pick up some merch.
That's right. So yeah, right on. We'll chat with you guys later. Thanks for joining the stream, and there, I'll throw it up. That's my sister-in-law. Just subbed, entertaining stream. Thanks, Travis. Appreciate that.
Have a good one.
All right, we'll talk to you guys later. See ya.
Yep. See ya.